some more.
Yo, what's good, people? Izzy Max here, back again with another VGC Shadow League match. This week I am fighting Steven. As you see, his team here is Mimikyu, Raichu, Clefairy, Blastoise, Duraludon, and Conkeldurr. While we were building, big shout out to my front office, Ryan. He really helped me with some odd sets this week. Our main problem was dealing with the Clefairy Blastoise, which looks like it's kind of running through the league. But for us, we do have Indeedee and a special Cobalion with Steel Beam. So if the Clefairy, like we expected, would be physically defensive, Max Steel Spike from a Steel Beam would be able to one-shot the Clefairy. And that's kind of what we did there. Indeedee's just a normal Indeedee with Colbur Berry. Assault Vest Pincurchin. We do have Electric Seed, Flapple, and it's actually not to go with the Pincurchin. The Pincurchin is just here if we need it, but it is here because Cobalion is more than likely going to set up the electric terrain. We have an offensive supportive Comfey, max HP, and then a lot of special attack. I do not think it had Draining Kiss, but it does have Giga Drain because it did hit the Blastoise very hard. And then we have a Choice Scarf, Terrain Pulse, Silvally, rounding out the squad. This week is we brought kind of an interesting team, not the regular strategy I've been using so far in the league. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Of course, this is sped up and pre-recorded. As you see, I am bringing Cobalion and Indeedee with Comfey and I believe Silvally in the back. Didn't really want to bring Pincurchin or Flapple to start the match just because that Raichu really posed an issue for what I was trying to do with the Cobalion, or vice versa with the Pincurchin. And if I changed terrain and locked myself into Terrain Pulse, Raichu could just sit there in front of the Silvally, no problem. But with that being said, I do have my lead. This was my lead going into the game because we figured that he had to lead the Blastoise Clefairy because it is so strong, and we didn't really see another lead that he really had that could poke holes in my team. So at first I thought follow me, but then I was like, no, he's just going to follow me and Helping Hand, or follow me and Shell Smash. So this is kind of why we did it. You've seen the Psychic Seed pop. This is an important calc with the Psychic Seed. We are able to live a +2 max water spout, I think it was, from the Blastoise if it is Focus Sash or White Herb. Okay, we're going to see here that it's not White Herb, so that leaves Focus Sash or an offensive item that sucks for our calcs. We actually weren't expecting him to run Life Orb, but he does. He does end up running the Life Orb. And he texted me mid-match saying that this was a mistake bringing the Conkeldurr in because he honestly forgot about Psychic Terrain. So he is going to max the Blastoise, which is fine. It is low health, but it is very fast. And this is where we realize that he is Life Orb. Of course, he does click Mach Punch there. It's kind of unfortunate. But he goes into the Cobalion. We thought we were going to live this. We were very confused when we died because of this long animation. But then we seen that it was Life Orb. And the Life Orb calc definitely killed the Cobalion. So no harm, no foul. We know that going into game 2. But Indeedee was able to pick up the hit, or pick up the kill, and do a massive chunk to the Conkeldurr. Next, we're bringing Comfey, and you might be thinking, well, this is kind of weird. The only attacking move it has is Priority. Well, we weren't using it for that here. We didn't want to reveal the Silvally unless we had to. So we are just going to stick with the Comfey and just kind of ally switch, Floral Healing, just be very supportive for the Indeedee, and try to pick up a couple kills as the Play Rough comes out here. Doesn't really do too much. It's not quite 50%. But what we will see is that's actually a low roll. Or I'm sorry, the Cannonade. I forgot about the Cannonade. The Cannonade actually matters here. So everything kind of goes down here, and we just are going to do the same thing. I wish I would have Helping Hand, because it would have killed. But instead, we Floral Healing just in case he's going to try and call the Ally Switch, which he doesn't, and Play Rough does just end up knocking out the Comfey. And the Expanding Force single target comes out here and doesn't quite pick up the KO. If I would have Helping Handed, it would have. and then we wouldn't have had to reveal this Silvally set. I say reveal because I'm not sure if this is a max speed Mimikyu. Of course, the Indeedee has no speed in it, so it was going to underspeed the Mimikyu anyway. But I'm not sure if it would have outsped the Mimikyu. So there's that. Mimikyu does go down, and he might know that I'm Scarfed now at this point. So we win with 2-0. And then here we're going to just do the same lead, but we are bringing Flapple this time instead of the Comfey, because seeing what he brought, Flapple really kind of does a lot of work, minus the Mimikyu. But as you'll see, he actually swaps out the Mimikyu for a different Mon, and we'll get to that when the time comes. But he does end up leading the same way. This is what we expected from the beginning. Psychic Surge, of course, comes out. And now, this is when we really have to take out this Clefairy, and he knows it, so he makes a really good play here. And he is actually going to protect the Clefairy, which is super smart. And instead of Shell Smashing, he's just going to Dynamax straight up, which is fine for us because now Blastoise can't really do a whole lot of damage. It's not, like I said, doing really anything at this point. So he's going to go ahead and max, and you'll see how much damage this actually ends up doing. So there he does protect the Clefairy as I just Steel Spike into it. Still doing a decent chunk, like, it's whatever. And then the Blastoise here is able to Cannonade, and now you're seeing that it doesn't quite take out the Indeedee, so I know for a fact it's not going to take out the Cobalion, which surprised me that he targeted the Indeedee. I have not clicked follow me yet, so he might think I'm bringing the offensive Indeedee, but it's actually not. So I am just going to Expanding Force again because I know that the Clefairy really can't protect again. If it does, like, good luck on you. But he is going to click follow me, which is, of course, what Clefairy usually does. And we are able to take it out with the Steel Spike. And this Cannonade now is actually going to be going into the Cobalion. And it doesn't do half. So that shows you kind of how that calc worked with the Life Orb and everything. Indeedee is almost going to go down here. After the next turn, it will die to the Cannonade damage. And Indeedee actually still serves a purpose. I haven't clicked follow me yet, so he might not know that I have it. And also Duraludon here, I have things in the back that can take care of it. So I am just going to switch Indeedee out here into the Flapple. And this is actually a big play for the end game. As you see, we don't quite pick up the kill with the Max Electric because the Blastoise isn't at -2. But the Flapple now does have the defensive boost. Of course, this is a Dark Pulse, so it's not going to completely matter. But the Cannonade does now come off and end up killing the Cobalion. This is fine. Since I was able to set the terrain, Cobalion was ready to go down. I needed it. I didn't need it any longer. So now out comes the Silvally. So this is actually a very good play here. I am going to Terrain Pulse into the Blastoise to kind of get rid of it. Since I know I am faster, I kind of wanted to Draco the Duraludon at first. But I am just going to protect the Flapple. I know that the Duraludon is probably going to try to rack off a hit into the Flapple. So here comes the Terrain Pulse. It is, of course, Electric type, and it knocks out the Blastoise. And I did call that correctly, so the Dark Pulse does end up going into the Flapple. We do take the Cannonade damage. I believe that was the last turn of it. So now out comes Conkeldurr, and I'm thinking, okay, you're just going to Mach Punch the Flapple, try to get rid of it. So I'm going to go ahead and switch into the Indeedee here. And this was a really, really good play and kind of big brain for two reasons. So he's going to try to Mach Punch the Flapple, which would have killed it. But now he can't because of the terrain, and he's also going to, well, take that, which is huge. But he's going to Draco the Silvally. Now, this is another important calc. Silvally, of course, does live, but now the Duraludon is at -2. And if it clicks the Dark Pulse for super effective damage into the Indeedee, I still do have my Berry. And based on the calc, it actually leads us to live the hit. So we do call the Protect on the Conkeldurr. I wasn't quite worried about it. And the Berry does proc there, and we live on 4 HP. It was a roll to actually kill us. We do flinch, which is unfortunate. But the Conkeldurr does go down there to the burn. And I am switching Silvally out here because I need to be able to switch off of the Terrain Pulse. And I need to be able to click Draco Meteors or at least a Hyper Beam. So I do protect the Indeedee here as he does Dark Pulse that slot. I thought about protecting the Flapple, but I figured he can't kill both Mon, so I might as well just go all out into whatever I have. So he does end up killing the Flapple here, which again is no huge deal, as the Terrain Pulse does a big, or I'm sorry, the Expanding Force does a big chunk to the Duraludon. And now this game is pretty much a wrap. The only way he wins is if I miss the Draco. But even then, I think Indeedee still killed it. But I ended up hitting the Draco, and that is going to be a 4-0 win for your St. Louis Booloos. Again, big shout out to my front office, Ryan, for really pulling through with some creative stuff this week. We have a crazy set of Pokemon coming for next week's match, so I'm excited to play that. Don't really know when that'll be, but the next time you'll see me will probably be in the last week of the Max Doubles League. So without further ado, I will see you guys then. Peace.